Hello, Five fans. I'm that boxing writer, Jeremy Harridges, here with undefeated heavyweight Stephan Big Shot Shaw, who's 14-0 with 10 KOs, getting ready for his second fight on Ring City, USA on April 22nd. Stephan, good to see you.
Good to see you too, bro. How you doing, Jeremy?
Good. It's been a long time, and we'll get to kind of the past and history a little bit here, but
Yeah,
I was noticing that you just had your big debut in December against Liambar Pinchuk, where
yeah,
you had a great boxing match. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Did you hurt your hand in that fight?
yeah. I kind of actually I hurt both of my hands.
Mm-hmm.
But my right was really bothering me the most. But I feel great now. Luckily nothing was broken. Nothing was sprained. It's just tenderness, I guess, from hitting this guy in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Testament to how I should have went to the body a little bit more.
Well, it's fortunate that nothing was broken because I remember watching it. I think it was some point after the fight where you kind of talked about it, or at least we got the feeling that you had injured it. The first thing
Yeah,
that you think of is a break. So very happy to hear that's not the case.
yeah, they're great now, bro. They real.
So when you felt it, I'm assuming there was at least some point in the fight where you thought you broke it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember what shot it was or what round?
Well, I thought I broke it in the seventh round, but it started bothering me like around like the fourth round.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fourth, fifth round, my hand started kind of really like bothering me a little bit. But in the seventh round, I think I hit him with a shot, like right in the face, like right in the dead of his nose, or like right in here somewhere. And my right hand just felt like it was broke, but I still was using it. I
Mm-hmm.
still was fighting through it. I still was using it. Some things that, us fighters, we go through.
When you sense that, okay, my hand might be feeling a little bit weird, right around that fourth round, do you start having to rely on your footwork and your movement a little bit more? Is that what you kind of went to in that situation?
Absolutely. I definitely reverted back to my boxing ability, and the agility in the ring, and just being sharp and having an IQ in the ring and using the whole ring, not really getting hit, like you say, the footwork, the agility, and just boxing, you know. And I felt good in there, even with the hurt hands. I felt strong, because I thought I was gonna knock him out. I thought eventually he was gonna fall, but he took his time. They said, primarily he was fighting at cruiserweight, but he had 3 fights at heavyweight, and all of them were knockouts, and I knew that coming into the fight, but I didn't know that he was going to be as big as he was, because when I
Mhm.
first saw him, even in person, I'm like, okay, he's a lot bigger than what I thought, you know what I mean? So, you know, uh, hats off to Pinchuk.
Well, and I think in that fight, maybe some of the fans that haven't seen you before, they saw a lot from you skill wise. One of the things that I noticed, kind of going back to your footwork, one of the things that I noticed about you from the moment that I saw you, which the first time I ever saw you was in Alabama while you were sparring with Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
So, and which must have been, man, it must have been 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was 4 years ago, man. Absolutely. It was definitely in 2017.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. And so I remember watching you, and you're a big guy. I mean, you're 6'5", and you were moving really light on your feet. You're gliding around that ring. And the footwork really impressed me from you since day one. Going back all those days to the years that you spent with Wilder, how formative were those in helping build up your confidence and your skill set going forward?
Oh man, it definitely helped my confidence, knowing that I can contend with the arguably the best puncher of this era, you know, um, definitely let me know where I was at, in my career, and help me measure myself up against, the former champion in Deontay. And it just helped me, understand what it was to be a champion, to see how a world champion's training camp is ran, how a champion conducts himself, all those perks, and those are the biggest things that I really took from Deontay.
And I think it's important too. I think people look past and don't even necessarily put into the equation that those training experiences, those collaborations. Deontay isn't the only big name that you've worked with. I mean, you've worked with so many different guys, whether it's Andy Ruiz, Charles Martin, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
What do you take from each of those situations, and how does it help you in the long run?
It just helped me know that I could contend with those guys, and I can hold my own, times over. It's a great measuring stick, and I actually fought Charles Martin. I was actually Charles Martin's last amateur bout, and I dropped Charles Martin twice, but due to the amateurs, they score a knockdown is 1 point, to where if it was a pros, I would have won both of those rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely a great measuring sticks being up against sparring the last 3 world champions from America.
Mm-hmm. Something that I noticed in your last fight as well, one of the reasons why I think you were moving around the ring so well, you were by far and away the best condition that I've ever seen you in. I did like a double take, like, whoa, like you were cut, man. I've never seen you look like that. You weighed 235, and going to your very first fight, you weighed 271.
Yeah, man. It's been a process, man. Anybody that's really been following me and really been watching me develop over these years, I have done just that, develop. And that's what you want out of a heavyweight. Most of these guys start off at their max potential, and then they start declining. To me, where, I started off pretty deep. I was a national champion, two-time national champion in 2013, and turning pro 6 years. I started boxing from 13 years old to 19. And by time, 6 months later, 8 months later, I'm traveling with the Olympic team as an alternate / training partner, sparring Michael Hunter, sparring Dominic Brazil, and just getting that whole Olympic experience, being around Earl Spence, being around Clarissa Shields, and I was really new to the sport. And then 6 months later, I'm winning the USA Nationals, winning the National PAL later on that year. And Al Heyman came with a 5-year contract. I just had a son. So I'm like, hey, these are the biggest people in the game at the time, and I felt honored that they were willing to give me a 5-year contract, coming off of a 6-year layoff and doing what I did, winning the Nationals and stuff like that. I felt honored to be signed with those guys. And I was like, hey, where do I sign? And my first fight, like you say, I was 271. And if you really look at my career, the more I fight consistently, the more my weight drops. And even, to the point where you're saying last year, due to this pandemic, I hadn't fought in over a year. And I came in the lightest of my career, and like I left the gym earlier, I was 237, earlier. So I feel great, packs and stuff kind of showing and getting my body, nice and chiseled. So, it's just a lot of growth. And, I'm just blessed.
When you step into the ring on April 22nd against Jermaine Franklin, what are you expecting to weigh? You expecting around the same thing, 235-ish, or what? Did you have a target in mind?
Yeah, I'm expecting to probably be the same, about 235, no bigger than about 238, anywhere around there, I feel great. That's a perfect weight for a heavyweight, you know what I mean? And, especially a modern day heavyweight, us big guys, anywhere from like 235 to, 250, 245. That's what usually the top-notch guys are really weighing in at, and fighting. So I feel comfortable. There, you know what I mean? And, I'm only getting better, man. Like I'm 28 years old, 14-0, and I'm only getting better.
You said something interesting about your amateur days. I mean, you had a very good amateur career. Obviously, anytime someone's winning a national, let alone multiple national titles, that's big stuff. A 6-year layoff you had there. What happened there, and why did you take that time away?
To be honest, being 13 years old, I started boxing at the age of 7. And, just that consistent grind and, that mental strain on a youth, I needed to take a break. You have guys that's been fighting for over 20 years. And again, you start seeing those guys decline when they get to the pros, because most of their coaches been trying to get them to become the best amateur, the best child prodigy, the best kid in the world, but the amateur to pro pipeline is literally just, what it is. It's the amateurs, it's room for improvement, and it's the growth and development of boxing, and I felt like I've grown, I felt like I needed to take that break. I really, just the camaraderie of it wasn't really in my heart like it needed to be.
When it's something that people maybe don't realize about you is your boxing IQ. I mean, you've grown up around boxing your entire life. You come from Midwest boxing royalty
Yeah,
with your grandfather and your father, both big
yeah.
names. But Winston Buddy Shaw. I mean, when you talk about your grandfather, I mean, and all that experience that he had, I mean, the names, just recently, I mean, you can go to Corey Spinks, but beyond that, like, how much has that history meant to you?
It means a lot, man. That was really one of the reasons why, I got into boxing. I remember at one point in time, Corey Spinks, he was living with my grandfather, you know what I mean? And just being around Corey, you know what I mean? I remember Corey Spinks, he was like 12-0, 11-0, and he came to fight, he came to California to fight Antonio Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And me and my dad, we actually picked him and Corey and my grandfather up from the airport. And the mayor at the time, they was out there meeting those guys at the airport. My grandfather was telling my dad, Corey Spinks, he's gonna be big. He's gonna have a big fight here in St. Louis one day. And fast forward to about 6 years later, he had at the time, the record for an indoor, sporting event at the time. He sold out Scotts Trade Center. It's called the Enterprise Center now, but and then it was called the Savage Center. But yeah, he sold that place out, man. And that kind of stuff, motivated me to really do what I'm doing now. Seeing guys like my grandfather had fighters that named Tony Robinson. Him and my grandfather and Emmanuel Stewart had a great relationship. Just that whole Midwest camaraderie, man. My grandfather mentored guys like Michael Stafford, Kevin Cunningham, Kenny Porter, a lot of those guys, man. So my grandpa is definitely one of the reasons why I got into boxing.
And obviously your family plays a big part. I mean, I've seen you in the gym working the pads with your dad.
Yeah.
But you also have Bashir Abdullah working with you, correct?
Yes, sir. And he's originally from St. Louis. He went to school. He went to high school with my mother. He went to grade school with my family. He knows all of my family. So it's like a family orientated, training camp. And I call my coach Bashir. He's the general. And, he's like an uncle to me. You know what I mean? So he's in the St. Louis Box Hall of Fame. My dad's in the St. Louis Box Hall of Fame, and my grandfather's in the St. Louis Box Hall of Fame. So it's a rich history there.
I mean, there's a lot of smart, collected brains in that corner that know boxing in and out. Let's talk a little bit about your upcoming fight, Jermaine Franklin. I mean, one of the reasons why this is such an interesting bout to people, it's two American undefeated heavyweights that can have power. What do you think about your opponent?
I think that Jermaine Franklin, he's a decent fighter. He comes fight every fight. He fights hard. But I feel like he only fights one way, and that's just coming hard or coming harder. And if he's not coming harder, he's tiring or spitting out his mouthpiece or whatever. But I'm expecting the best Jermaine Franklin come April 22nd, because Jermaine Franklin is going to have to deal with the best Stephan Shaw. And that's just how I sum it up, man. I'm going to go out there and have fun, be smart, be first, and just let everything happen. The knockout come, I'm definitely going to take it, and just go out there and just have fun, man. This is what I've been doing before these guys even thought about boxing, so, just with that alone, I feel pretty confident going into any fight, even the top champions, I've been in boxing before Deontay Wilder. I've been in boxing before Anthony Joshua. So, with that alone, like I say, long as I'm coming in there correct, you know, coming in the best shape of my life, I'm going to be victorious, and I really feel like that.
Obviously, this is arguably the biggest fight of your career. It's going to be
Absolutely.
televised. It's against a top prospect. I mean, this win can really be the penultimate into something so much bigger.
Yes, sir.
Really kind of cracking into that top 15, top 10 picture. How many fights would you like to see yourself in 2021?
2021, I want to have at least 3 to 4 fights, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that'll be great, including this Jermaine Franklin fight. The cumulative record of my opponents in my last 3 bouts would be about 47-3. So that lets you know what type of competition, that I've had in my career, and nothing's been easy. I haven't had that flag stamped on me, he's the next American guy, or this or that. So I'm really getting mine out the mud, and I take all of that kind of stuff in training camp with me. That's where I work so hard. I'm not taking none of this stuff for granted. And like I say, man, I feel I'm ready to fight this week. I feel great. I just boxed a good 6 rounds in the gym. I'm going to spar Frank Sanchez Monday. That'll be some great work. So I feel great going into this fight, and I just can't wait to go out there and shine.
Well, Stephan, I'm excited to see you in the main event, showing the world what you can do. 2 undefeateds going after it, and man, best of luck on April 22nd.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, Jeremy. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Likewise. Take care.